Welcome back everybody. This is going to be a challenge, that is for sure. This is a big job and potentially a little bit out of my comfort zone. Let's show you what's going on. So this bike is pretty much brand new by all accounts. Customer bought it at an extremely good price and then started having issues. So he bought some new brakes. So he's already fitted the front one. That's nice and easy. We are in the UK. This is the front brake, I'll remind you. He didn't want to do the back one. This is a SRAM brake. This is done probably, like I say, 10 miles. Could be bled, no problem at all. However, he doesn't want to do that, or he doesn't want me to do that. He wants it changed into the other XT brake that he supplied me. But it's not that simple, not by a long way. So a mountain bike with an integrated cable system running through the headset, which is pretty much bespoke to this bike. He's already took this cover off. There's a cover that lives over here. It basically just makes it look a bit better. But he wants rid of this as well. So he's supplied me with another headset that, according to his research, will replace all of this. So I can't find anything out there. So I've got his word to go by. We'll see how we get on with that. And then he supplied a new bar and stem. He doesn't like the shape of this bar. I have to agree with him. It's a bit of a weird one. The stem and bar is a different size, so we can't just swap the bar into this existing stem. So he wants this stem going on here with a new bar. Personally, I can't see why this won't just drop on there, but you will be left with these little sort of wings, I guess. So he supplied me with something else to change that out. Oh, just wait, there's way more than that. So this has got what they call, I think it's track lock system, where you basically lock out the shock in the down tube. So that makes it a little bit more, well, quite a bit more complicated by all accounts, because this cable here goes through the headset, along with the dropper, and the rear brake hose as well. Rear brake hose is coming out, obviously, because we're putting a new one in. And then we get to the interesting bit. So this is a full suspension mountain bike. However, you might notice there is no shock. There is a shock, it lives inside here. There's a mounting bolt, there's another one here, one on the back. So it's got to enclose the shock to protect it from the elements. Quite a nice design actually, but potentially going to make this quite a bit more difficult to work on. The first one I've done, I'll be honest with you, and I can't find a great deal of information out there, including on Scott's website. So it's going to be a bit of a steep learning curve for me, but it could be entertainment for you. He's also supplied me with a new crankset, a Shimano crankset, and we're putting a new bottom bracket in there. It's press fit bottom bracket, so all that's got to come out. And like I say, this brake is coming off to be replaced with a Shimano unit as well. So I've got a lot of work to do. I'm not entirely sure where to start. Parts wise, we've obviously got the new bar, the new stem and the new brake. That's not terminated yet, so that will be pulled through the frame bottom bracket area. We've got these XT cranks. These are used, they're looking pretty decent condition. New bottom bracket obviously, and then this is the interesting bit. This is the headset he supplied. So by all accounts, he's done quite a bit of research on this, and he assures me this will work. I'm not convinced. So I have had a quick look prior to switching the camera on, and I think I only need this piece here, but I need to strip off quite a few bits just to confirm that, because this top bearing and plastic compression ring, the compression ring that's in there is identical to this one. I haven't seen the bottom of it yet, but it looks identical. So these two holes here locate onto these bits here. So what I think, basically we only need to take this top cap off with the wings on it and call it that, replace it with that one, and then the cables are going to drop through here. Again, still going through the headset, but we don't need the bearings. Like I say, this bike's only 10 miles old, so there's going to be nothing wrong with the existing bearings. But we shall have a look when we get the bars, etc. off and get a bit of slack in the cables. I'll take it from there, I think. Can just get a bit of weight off the bike, take these wheels out first. I'm a big fan of Scott bikes, but I'm not entirely sure if all this design is going to be necessary or not. It might be brilliant. We'll find out when we get in there. It might be the worst job I've ever done. I might break it. That'll be bad. I hope not. According to Scott, it's just as easy to work on as any of their other bikes. We shall see about that. So we're changing these cranks anyway, so I might as well just pull that off at the moment. The more space I can get, the better, I think, really, to be honest. Because we are changing so many bits, it might have made it slightly easier, because pretty much everything's got to be at the same area, really, so you never know. Spacer. I'll leave this for a bit. It is coming off, obviously, but we're going to need to use this hose to route something else through there, hopefully. Right, let's spin it upside down, see what's happening down there. Take this chain off, save it flapping around there. Safe to say this customer is not a SRAM fan. It's all coming off, pretty much. I'm going to flip the bike upside down there and show you what's in here. So this is where the magic happens. A little cover here, you just literally pop that off. Quite nice. And there's your shock, so it lives in here. So like I say, there's a bolt here and a bolt here, and then another one further up the seat tube. And all these bits here are cables that are insulated with foam. Cable tied into very specific points. Quite nice design on this one. But all this has got to come out if we've got to take that headset out, so it all relies on that headset. But just to show you what's in here, we do need to undo this. There's a cable here that's operated by the lever on the handlebar, which basically locks the shock out or changes it to different modes if you like. So we need to disconnect that here, which is different to the one I've seen on the internet, which is basically here and quite easy to get to, so that could be interesting as well. So I'm going to go to the headset next and see what's happening there. So I think what I'll do, as all this bar is coming out and all this is obviously coming out, I'm going to take these out so I can basically have these controls loose and give me a lot more slack to see what's going on in there. So I'm just going to whip all this stuff off, and then hopefully all will become clear. Like I say, I've looked on Scott's website for this. Either I'm looking on the wrong page or they don't show you a great deal. There is some bits and pieces there, but certainly not to this level. I might take another look later because I can't believe there's not torque settings, etc. I couldn't even find that page. To get this lever off, you just basically open this. Like that, there's a little pin in here you press in. Like that, and then I'll just open that up. Thinking about it, because that rear mech's not been cabled up very well, I'm just going to disconnect the inner from the rear mech and pull all this through as well. So it's uncut at the moment, so it shouldn't fray or anything, it should be easy. If not, I'll just bang a new cable in. Should be able to reuse that, no problem. It's literally brand new Shimano coated cable. This is going to be the challenging bit. He did mention it about 100 times that this is the hardest bit, allegedly. I don't know where he's getting this information from. It might be a Scott owners group on Facebook, I guess, or something, but I'm not a member, so I'm going in blind. This is the dropper, and this here activates that shock, basically, so a fancy system. So the dropper cable is terminated at this end, and the shock one is terminated at the shock, which is nice. We did say you can take this apart to get the cable out rather than accessing the shock one, but this just looks like a complete disaster waiting to happen, so I'm not doing that. I'm sure I might as well disconnect this as well because it's coming off. Whatever we can do to make this job potentially slightly easier. Front brake's not an issue, it doesn't go through the headset, so that's good. So I'll be using one end of this hose to pull the new one through. I can leave that as it is for now. Now we get this bar off. This could be either a complete nightmare or much more straightforward than what he's telling me, so we shall see. I don't know if you guys have seen that build yet on the Raw mountain bike I did, the black one. So much easier, everything external. Right, here we go. Like I say, I have had a quick look in here, but I couldn't do as much as this because the cables, everything was still attached. So this pops up obviously like that. And what I think is all we need to change is this piece here. However, we're still going to get this lever for the shock through there, so it's never going to be that straightforward, that's for sure. Get the gear cable through, get the brake hose through. Then we're just looking at the dropper and the shock. So these spaces here just clip out. I really honestly can't see why this won't work. That would literally just clip on there like that. The pegs match the spaces, and away we go. We shall see. This fork's dropped down a little bit at the moment, that's why this looks short. It's pretty damn windy outside, so sorry if you can hear the wind. I'll try and edit it out. So, like I say, this compression ring here is identical to this one. So I honestly don't know why he's telling me we need to change all of this. I'm going to get this out a bit further and see what it looks like on the bottom. Like that, and then like that. So we can get this off because it's all slotted. Not gonna lie, that looks exactly the same. It does look the same apart from this piece here, this bit clips in, and this has got just a little springy bit of plastic, but the actual physical dimensions and angles and depth all look exactly the same to me. I'm going to try and put this new one in, see if it will fit. So if this works, I don't even think we need to take that shock out. I'm sure all you Scott mechanics that do this day in, day out are laughing at me now, but hey, you've had training from your owner. I haven't. And this piece here will fit. We do need to still disconnect that cable to get it through here. That's a pain in the arse, isn't it? But obviously this bit here will all just fit on. Crazy. Right, I'll shut the door, it's just too windy. So this bike here has adjustable headset angles. Peg here sits into a little groove in the frame, and there's one on the bottom, so you can swap that around like that to that, and that will adjust the headset angle ever so slightly. But I don't see that's relevant to what I'm trying to achieve here. So all we're trying to do really is get rid of this bit here so we can fit another stem on there and get the cables going through the headset. I honestly don't see what the issue is. So I'm going to try that. I think either I'm missing something or that's just going to work perfectly well. If it wasn't for these two cables here, it'd be a 10-minute job, but it's not going to be, unfortunately. Let me disconnect the dropper cable from this end because I don't want to pull the seat post as well, if it's all possible. But if we do need to run a new inner for the dropper, it's not the end of the world. So try and get this off because there's not much there to play with, unfortunately. Don't really want to cut it off because there'll be nothing left to play with then. And just disconnect the inner cable from that one. Oh, so that's one more cable gone. So then it's all about this little beauty. Like I say, this one, that's the end of the cable there, so it is actually screwed in at the shock. If it was the same as a dropper, we could just disconnect it there and be happy days, but they haven't done that, have they? So I don't think there's any way I can manipulate that through that bracket. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Nope. So we need to disconnect that from the shock ultimately, and then we need to pull the inner through here, and then we're getting somewhere. So we can actually just pull the fork out now. It's not really doing it a great deal, and it's not connected to anything. Get it out of the way. Like that. There's so much plastic in his headset, it's crazy. Look at this, it's just plastic. A bit of insulating thing that goes around your steerer. I'm just going to mark orientation of these in case we have to just retain these in. This is front lower, so that, like I say, there's two pegs here, you can put this either way you want. Our two new bearings he supplied me, but there's no pins on this and they're a different depth, so I'll investigate further on that one. Take this off for now, I don't need it at the moment. And this will come out, all of this will come out. Again, I'm just going to mark this one, front. And again, we can't get this off because of that lever cable. And this is where it all disappears down into the down tube of the bike. It's all pretty well insulated. He did ask for some foam to try and stop this, so we'll see what we can do. Just the brake hose really, the rest of it's not bad. So we're going to look at the shock, see if we can disconnect this cable. This pulley here, as you'll see, is operated by that lever. This is me just operating that lever now. Turn that once, and turn that twice. You do have access to that screw now, so I think I can probably just undo that. I think getting it back in is going to be much more challenging than... You can't even get an Allen key on there, it's a bit of a shit angle that is. But to access that, I've got to just tip this shock forward, so I need to take these bolts out. Might not even need to take the whole shock out, but I'm going to just let the air pressure out first. 220 psi in there, just let that out slowly. Like that. So I can take these bolts out here, drop this shock forward and get better access to that bolt there. T30, 10 Newton meters, I'm very tight with it. It's a great design to keep the shock clean, etc, but potentially it might make it a bit more challenging to work on, but so far it's not been too bad. So I'm going in blind here pretty much. Right, so that's better. Alright, now we've got really good access to this, so that's fine. Shouldn't be too bad to get it back on either. And again, I'll take this off because I want to pull this inner out all the way through so we can get the lever off. And that's that. I may well run a new inner through there, it's no big deal. Well, I've got this far, so I may as well take the entire shock out. It's just going to make life a lot easier. So there's another bolt lives behind here. And there. Just there. That could be interesting to get back in. Just manipulate the swing arm around to get access to that, but yeah, it could be interesting. And this shock will then just fall out. It should just come out now. There you go. Right, so the lever's pretty much disconnected itself now, I've done that, which is fine. Pull that through now. Put my torch in there, you can see what's in there now. There's the base of the dropper. All the hose routing there. These clamps are quite nice down here. Like I say, they're all foamed on. Shouldn't need to touch any of that. I can see that cable on, let's just drop down a little bit. I can grab that, no problem. There's the rear brake hose, which we are changing for that new brake. So we've got to pull that through there. And we've got to take this bottom bracket out. So just before I continue, I couldn't find any information, so I just rang Scott UK Technical Support, and they're fantastically helpful guys. Basically, they've just confirmed exactly what I was already thinking. So we are going to use the original headset cup here, and we're literally going to use this replacement top cap rather than this one here. They will work together, basically designed to work together. We're not using the rest of the headset is used. We're using the original cups. That's all going back in, and we're just replacing this top one here. So it should be fairly straightforward in theory. Just the matter of the cables. A couple of other things he did point out, I'll show you. Struggling to focus, but this is obviously the dropper cable here, as you'll see, and then you'll see this hole here. The cable should be running through there. It's cast into the frame That dropper should be going through there. So apparently store that built this should have done that, and they've missed it. So we'll run that through while we've got the opportunity. Like I say, the inner cable should be fairly straightforward. We might have to pull this dropper out in the end actually, but see if we can run that through there where it should be as well. Apart from that, he basically just confirmed everything I was thinking, really, to be honest, so shouldn't be too bad. Well, I'm going to try and sort this dropper cable out. It's absolutely impossible for me to film it, so I'll just crack on and let you know when and if I've done it. That's going to be impossible without taking the actual dropper out itself, as suspected. So, first chance to use my jazzy new attachment. So this thing here is designed to hold frames when you can't hold it by the seat post, basically, so it's quite a clever attachment. Actually donated by a subscriber, so thank you very much. I had one on the shopping list for a long time, never got around to it. He just dropped it off and gave it to me, so massive thanks. So now I can easily get this dropper out. I think Scott were a bit obsessed with Torx balls. Right, that's coming out. So this is the dropper here, it'll just pull through the frame fairly easily. There's your foamy bit. Two birds with one stone on this one, because I'm going to change this inner. It's just going to make life easier at the lever, and I'll route this cable where it should be in the frame. So I'm going to just pull this inner all the way out. We don't need this. Like that. Let's get this cable through that casting easily now. There you go, that's straight through. But yeah, apparently the bike shop that built the bike should have done that. Naughty, naughty. You know who you are if you're watching. The problem is, if it doesn't, then there's potential that this cable's going to foul on the shock. So it kind of needs to go through there. And now it does. Like that. Perfect. Well, that's where it should be. You can see that now it is running through that casting in the frame, in there where it should be. Bad freedom. This gear cable is too wide, and it's a special Scott cable. Oh, there you go. It fits. It just looks super skinny compared to a normal cable. Right, this will come straight out at the other end, ready to connect back up to the lever when we eventually get there. There you go. Put this back in now. There's no grease on here, so I've added some. This is a lower section, so it's not touching anything, so it's just this in here that actually touch something. There's no special fitting on this. It's literally just a gear cable drops straight in, so super nice and easy. So just got to pull this through now at the same time, pushing that in, and there's a stop in the frame where there's actually bottoms out, so easy to know where it was. There, that just stops in the frame. You can't go any further. And I can just nip that back up now and we go back on the seat post. We are clamping on here, and it is completely safe as long as it's fully extended. Don't believe me. Part 2 did a video telling you that, so argue with Calvin. Yeah, quite impressed with that. Right, let's continue. I think I'm going to try, before I put it all back together, to get some more in there because it's a bit stingy. There'll be a bit of cost cutting going on there. Especially this brake hose, that's the one that's rattling. That one's not too bad. That one's not too bad. So yeah, this brake hose, when we put the new one in, we'll get some more foam on that. There's loads of room in the down tube, it's not going to touch anything. Just like literally this much space for a bit of foam. Alright, bottom bracket, let's just do this, pull this out. Changing this over because it's a different size for Shimano, it's a 29mm. Obviously we need a 24 for Shimano. Like that. Like that. Pretty much going to be a bare frame in a minute. Like I said, brand new, otherwise it'd be a good time to do all your pivot bearings, etc. But obviously we're not touching those. It is brand new, pretty much. Brakes coming off next. Could just take the rear mech off just to feel lonely there. We're going to take this off next. I'm going to take this barb off first. It will leak quite a bit because we've opened both ends, but it's only just what's in the hose. Sorry, Shram, it's coming off. This is a mineral system though, so it doesn't matter if it leaks a bit. We're not melting the shiny paint. Just crack this off while it's still attached. It's easier. There you go. Take this off now. How many comments I get saying, I can't believe it, people pay people to work on bikes, it's so easy. Honestly guys, yeah, some are, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't like to say this was a particularly easy job. You need a fair bit of kit for this one, don't we? Right, we're off. So I'm going to cut this and then going to attach the Shimano hose to that with a barb and just pull it all the way through. Should be pretty straightforward. To be honest, if it goes wrong, we've got all the access in the world at the moment to fix it. This Shimano hose has been cut, so I'm hoping it's going to be long enough because it's a barbed hose, so you'd need a complete new hose with the barb on it if it's not. I'm going to use this little thing here, you've seen this before, just basically screws them together. They've got an opposing thread on it, so basically they screw into each other equally at the same amount of time. I might not even need this, I've got such good access at the moment, but they are pretty much connected now. Like that, so that's the old one, the joiner, not quite on, but that should be more than enough. I'm literally just going to pull this through now. Some of the oil, just rub it onto the hose, it'll just make life a bit easier to get through. all these bits here. You can pull that from the front and guide it through at the back at the same time. Not too much resistance there, so it should go fairly well. I'm just trying to keep it inside the lining, inside the frame more than anything. Just getting hung up a bit on this cable tie, but I'm just pushing it through now and it's going, so no problem. Right, that joiner is through the head tube now, so that's all the way through. I'm just going to push a bit more through until this caliper is somewhere closer than that. Chuck some bolts in here just to stop it flapping around at the moment. Flip it back over, I think, at the moment. And that's that joiner there, so just take that out. You do need to cut about 10 mil of this off because obviously you put some threads into it, which you don't want. These are made for reverb, the old-fashioned seat posts, dropper seat posts, but I think they rebadged them as for basically for this hydraulic hose. They're great tools. Right. I'm just going to get some of this on that brake hose because it didn't have anything on there really. As far as we can go, pretty much there. Like that. So that's going way down there now. Nice and quiet. Perfect. I think, like I say, the other one, not too bad. No rattling. There's one, the brake one, that one, that one. So that's good. Okay, I'd like to say we're getting there, but I'm not entirely sure where we're getting. I'm just going to give it a bit of a wipe down before we continue. Now we've got access to everything. So far, so good. It's not been as bad as I was kind of expecting it to be. My only concern really is connecting that shock lever back up. Getting the tension right on that, but no more difficult than a dropper, I guess. Literally looks brand new, this does. I think it is 2023 model, but like I say, I think it's sat in his garage for some considerable time while he's deciding what to do with it. It all started because the brakes were not very good. There you go, that's a bit better. It's just dust really, no real dirt on it. Just thinking next plan of attack, I think what I'll actually do is put the fork in with the headset, get the stem on, the bar on, and then the lever on for the shock. Run a cable for that, connect that back up, put the shock in, put the bottom bracket in, and then we're almost there, bleed the brake, about done. Right, let's get this fork in then with this headset. So that's the fork, this is the bearing. I'm not greasing this because it's all plastic. And that's the front lowest, so that peg there will locate into the frame, just here. Like that. It's going to lower my stand down to trap that in place. Then we can throw this top bearing in. Let me just go and check my footage, see which cable went which side. 2 seconds. Almost forgot this one. This is for the actual shock itself. That back down there somewhere. Be easy to grab at the other end anyway. A bit more space to get that in. That's out. And then again, I'll mark that as front and left, so that's front top. Just locates into those 2 pins, like I say. Like that. Yeah, basically goes like that. It's almost threaded through. So I asked the Scott bloke how many issues you've had these plastic cups and whatnot. And he said none. And he had one problem where someone's been riding it around really, really loose, have cracked the head tube, but that was obviously complete maintenance or lack of issue. So they weren't concerned at all by the plastic bits. This one. Cooking on gas. Cooking with gas. I got told off for saying cooking on gas. I thought it was cooking on gas, but apparently it's cooking with gas. Hey Anyway, right, so this is the new piece that Scott have told me, assured me, will be compatible with this, so we are dropping this on now. We're not using the big spaces, we're going to use traditional spaces above this. How many people are shouting at the industry now for all this internal cable nonsense? To be honest, this is one of the better ones I've worked on. I don't know if you've seen the All Bayer video yet. Oh my god, well, it's literally the worst bike I've ever worked on. Absolutely horrendous. Sorry. Beautiful. That will sit down a little bit further. Just got to drop in those pegs. Wow. I tried the old one. That gap is exactly the same on the old one. If you don't believe me, let me just show you. Don't forget we've got to compress this down here anyway. Let me just show you this old one. There you go. Exactly the same gap with the old one. Now I'm going to have one spacer there and get this new stem. See how that looks. Absolutely perfect. I've got about a 2mm gap here, which is what you want. So let's just get this snugged in. Easy. Oh, I don't know what I was losing sleep over. Joking. I'll just snug this down and see how she looks. Take this stool out of the way now. A little bit more. That feels good. No play there. I don't think this brake hose is going to be long enough. Maybe just. This gear cable's short, isn't it? Flipping heck. Actually, my mistake. Gear cable, brake cable swap over. It's not long enough otherwise. I'll just check my video. It's quite handy when you're videoing everything. Yeah, just swap that over quickly. I'm going to pull this through as well because it's, there you go, it's better. And then we'll go to that lever, no problem. Brake this side, shifter that side, hip neck. I'm starting to see what heart surgery feels like. Under there. These two thinner ones out of this side. This gear cable's just a bit tight. Right, that feels a bit more natural there. Look at that. Right, that's right this time. So this gear cable only just long enough. And it's the original one, so it's got to be. Okay, feels nice. I reckon that's about straight as well. I'll check it when it's on the floor, but it ain't gonna be far off. Okay, so I'll throw this brake lever, shifter and right hand grip on now. Save it floating around where it was. So, I want the shifter to live in between this gap here if possible. I'll go there. I'll go there. Yeah, that's not bad. And I'll go about there. Get the grip on in a second, get it in the right place. Is this shifter cable long enough? Yeah. I might have a problem on the other side because the lever was mounted to the old SRAM brake lever. It won't fit to this new XT lever, I don't think. I'll have a look in a minute. Somebody told me off for hitting something with my hand in the other video. So I was giving it a bit of a slap, guys. It's not a hammer, I know. So, that's looking good. The cranks and bottom bracket, I'm not concerned by that, that's easy. So I'll just run a couple more cables in a minute. And then we're looking at getting this shock back in, because that's probably the most difficult bit left. Right, don't press that, there's no wheel. So with this one, we know we've already ran a new dropper cable here. So this one for the shock, I'm going to run a new one through here as well. It's going to be very difficult to run a cable that's already fraying on the end with a big kink in it to get it where I want. So that's the only reason I'm changing that. See, that's transferred over, no problem, so that's good. So there, like that. So that's one unit now. Get this one on as well. Obviously we've still got to bleed this brake, but that's fine. Happy now? Hose is long enough. Good. So, get this cable back through now for the shock, which is this one. Got a cap, don't we? And the dropper can go in there. We'll connect that back up in a bit. This is a bit long, we can push it through into the frame, there's loads of room. I'll try and get that gear cable back through now. It's the hardest bit is going to be getting it through this bit because it's a bit bent. Straightened out the best I can. Right, it's already starting to fray, so I'm not messing around with that. Get a new one. Oops. So I'll terminate this brake hose a little bit later, just in case any reason it's all got to come out. I hope not. Jiggle these around a bit as well. Quite a bit more actually. So we'll jump back down to here now. I can get a bit more foam on this cable here, so I'll just do that first. Alright, I'll find this end cap, it's a special size. Just before we throw this back in, quick pause to say a massive thanks to Sport and Leisure for sponsoring today's video. There's nothing worse than being right in the middle of a job, only for everything to come to a grinding halt, because the part you ordered from somewhere that said it was in stock, it wasn't in stock, was it? Sometimes it's not even in the same country. I don't know how they get away with it, honestly. Anyway, that's exactly why I use Sport and Leisure. They're based right here in the UK. Stock levels are 100% live. Says it's on the shelf and ready to go. Get your order in before 3 PM, dispatched the very same day with free delivery on all UK orders. Plus next day delivery is only £2.50, which is brilliant. You just need to crack on with the job and rely on it getting here next day. So they've updated the channel discount scheme. Head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan this QR code on the screen right now. It'll automatically generate a 10% discount at checkout on your very first order. So if you mind parts anyway, it's an easy way to save a bit of cash. So the link's in the description below, and a massive thanks again to Sport and Leisure for continuing to sponsor the channel. Alright, let's see if I can work out where this goes. We're on the home stretch now, I think. So this has got to basically connect up to here. It just lives in this little piece here. Wraps around here. And it's pinched back down where I undid it, and then the shock feeds itself down there. So I'll pull through as much slack as possible. There's actually quite a lot of slack, so it shouldn't be too bad. Make sure your lever is in its slackest position. You've got a choice of positions. Get this hooked into there, through there, over this roller. Sorry, it's still windy and I've left the door open, sorry. I'm just going to nip this up. We do have a barrel adjuster at the front, so we can adjust the tension of this. And just nip this cable up. And this shock, by the way, is bespoke to this bike. You can't upgrade it as far as I'm aware. You're stuck with this. It's a Fox Nude. And obviously we're going to trim this cable off. We don't need all this. I know you're not going to see it, but let's put a blue one on. I'm happy with that, yep. So what I'm going to do now, just going to operate the lever and make sure this goes through its two positions before I put it back in properly. There's one, and there's two, good. and that releases it. So this can go back in now. That wasn't too bad, was it? So as a matter of aiming, I can see that bit down there where it's got to go into. I can't possibly show you, sorry. Which is there. The bolt for that, so I'm just going to clean that up and get some grease on here. So already some corrosion on that, look at that. Crazy, brand new. And some Loctite on here. This is where it could get interesting, so I've got to just manipulate this rear end until I can see that. With a shock would be nice. I can't see the shock now. So that's like that. Again, Allen key in there to hold it together for a second. And I'll try and get this bolt through. Like I say, get a bit of grease on there, some fresh Loctite. This could be a bit tricky. Mr. Scott said it was easy. I think he was lying. I did read somewhere, somebody said put the frame on its side on the floor, but I'm not a big fan of that. It might end up being that in a minute. You basically need to manipulate the swing arm around your arm. And this is going to be very difficult. I'm going to put this on the floor, it's going to take hours otherwise. Definitely not a fan of putting things on the floor, but I think this is going to be extremely challenging otherwise. So you're going to get as much space up there as possible, get that lined up. But as soon as you get it lined up, it just wants to move itself like that. Can't be far off there. That's in. There you go. That was literally 2 seconds on the floor, so if you're struggling, try that. It's in. Even stamped on there. What do you want? 15 Newton meters. Good. That's not bad. I'll get it back in the stand pronto. And then you've just got to get these bolted into here, which should be significantly easier. Flipping heck. Famous last words. Right, I can definitely see what I'm doing here. That's good. Oh, feels good. I've got one. There's the other one. Piece of cake. Okay, Scott, you're still in my good books. Cool. Just get these torqued up then. Okay. So in theory, that should be in. Let me just make sure this cover still fits over that. Like that. Obviously, when we get it on the floor, get it back on its wheels, we can test that lever, see if it's doing what it should do. I don't see why not. Should be fine. So we can get this bottom bracket in now. Super easy because I can make sure my sleeve stays straight, which can be a pain with these. 92mm shell, so there's no spacer on this one. Just press it in. Plastic cups just go in dry for these. So this sleeve here, I don't know if you can see it, but sometimes it jumps out of alignment when you're pressing these in. So this is going to make life very easy. Just spin it over a bit so you can see. You can see that sleeve at the back, it's already jumped out of alignment. Nowhere near where it should be. It's just a nightmare for this, honestly. Unfortunately, on this one, I can see that straight away before we're anywhere near fully pressed in, so it's an easy fix. It'll still pop in at the moment, so I'm just using this drift, which is for Hollow Tech. And that'll basically just line that up a bit better, and then we'll try again. Just take your time. So it's easy when you can see it. When you're blind into a frame, you can't see this. You'll just power it in and end up with a massive kink in it. Trust me, still not very good. These aluminium sleeves made up. These are 2 different lengths. The idea of this, you'll pop it in here, and that'll keep things aligned. While you press it in, hopefully, and keep your eye on it. That's okay. That end, right, that looks good. Power it through now. It is only sort of pretty much a dust sleeve anyway. So if it does get damaged, it's not the end of the world, but try not to. Like that. It's in. So they can stay in there with the rest of the BSC bits and pieces. They seem to work quite well. So that's that in. Get some cranks in now, and then yeah, we're getting there. Just gonna drop this chain guide out of the way. It's in the way. There's a little rubber gaiter here that went through to the back of the bike that's fell out. So I'm just gonna take these out and move that shock, relocate that. It'll take me 2 seconds. The problem is this rubber boot has fell out, and wow, it's not easy to get back in. Let me tell you. I have to take the shock back out, obviously, but I don't even know how it fell out, to be honest. Okay, Scott, I'm not a fan of this bit. I'm sure this was in the first place, I'll be honest. That's as good as that's getting. Moving. Right, I'll drop the shock back in. Back in a minute. Right, we're back where we were. Pain, that's the hardest bit of the job so far. Once you get these cranks in. That was literally the hardest bit of the job. So I think these spacers are right. Remember, these cranks didn't come off this bike, so it appears to want one on either side. Drop your safety clip down and then just torque these up. I'm going to put some air in this as well before I forget. I'm at 220. Okay. You can go back on now. Good. Right, spin it back over and carry on. Throw this cable back in. Check your gear levers in the right place, as usual. Don't pull it when you're doing that because you'll be in completely the wrong place. And these Shimano ones don't need very much tension at all. Right. That should work. I think we can actually throw the wheel back in now and go for the gears. Also got to align this brake as well, but that shouldn't take 2 seconds. Yeah, I need to bleed the brakes as well, don't we? Remember to do these gears first and we'll take it back out. Can, however, give it some alignment. Like that. Throw this chain back on. So it's actually a SRAM chain he's put on here, so he's not quite succeeded in getting rid of all of it. It should work fine. I need some pedals as well. Right, it's back on as well. Like that. Right, let's just run through these gears and see if we've got anything here. Pretty good. It's rubbing on the stupid chain guard at the front, so I need to look at that in a minute. Oh, it's rubbing really badly on this, so I might need to revisit this in a bit. Totally rubbing. Well, let's try again. Up, back down one. Goes up nicely, and down. Too much tension there still. Just slack that cable is, and that's too much tension. And I've got nothing in the barrel adjuster, I forgot to unscrew it. Sorry. Rookie error. I've just wound out the barrel adjuster as I should have done before I started, and we'll try again. B screw looks a bit far out, to be honest. Like miles out. Get up the top and check that first. There's a line here, it says 51T. If you can see it right on the back here. That line should be level with the bottom of the sprocket, so we are absolutely miles away. There's a line here, you can't really see it, it's behind the chain, but there's a line that says 51T, and that should be here. So it's about an inch away from where it should be, so just wind that all the way in. I think miles away. Well, that's me out of adjustment now, so pretty good there. A lot better than it was. A little bit too much, so I can screw that in now on the actual shifter. 2 or 3 turns. It still goes up. And back down there. Better. Much better. Good. Oh, I've got no brakes. Gears are done. So I'm just going to drop this wheel back out again. Sorry. Then we'll get this brake blade. I like doing things backwards sometimes. Pads out. Literally brand new pads. The blue blocking. That end done. Back to the lever. So we've not terminated this hose yet. Check it for length first. I mean, it's a little bit on the long side, but I'm a bit hesitant to cut it down because there's not much slack in the frame, is there? I think we'll probably go with that, to be honest. Maybe an inch off it. Pretty much turns with the frame, so you've not really got an issue. Still maybe a bit long, but like I say, I'd rather leave it on the long side because there's nothing inside the frame to play with. Put that on. Don't forget. Put that nut on. And then wrap it up. Wind that in. Drop a Shimano grease on here as per their instructions. And throw it in the lever. And then add this one just to hold the hose to stop it rotating when you nip it up. This is just one of those other ones. It's one of those cut in half. We're just using this bit here. Just stops the hose twisting when you're connecting it. I bought one of these. I don't know if it's any good yet. Not tried it. It's a ratcheting flare wrench. That'll go on there. Actually not bad. Depends how much access you got, I guess, but that's quite nice. Tight enough. Drop it off there and then you just spin this around till you get that gap and it comes off. Pretty cool. You can't use a torque wrench on it, but pretty good idea of how tight these want to be. Done a couple of million, and that's that all. So what we need to do now is to bleed this system. I think we're about there. I'm just going to spin this around so it's a bit more level. Like so. Take the bleed plug out with your O-ring. I've lost my Shimano bleed cup, so I'll get a new one ordered. And we're just going to bleed it. Pump some fluid through here. Should be fine. 7mm there. At least my air coming out of here already. Bit of a gravity bleed while we wait. Shimano syringe, we're literally just going to pump this through. The lever's slightly higher than this. And it's pumping through. Just going to rotate the bike a few times, different angles. Keep burping that. I'm just going to rotate this down there. And then back up. That lever feels rock solid. Should be all that needs, hopefully. I've lost the plunger for this because I can't find my Shimano one. I don't have the plunger for this one either. I need to get organised. It's back in there. Like that. If we've still got any sponginess, obviously we can go to town on it a bit more, but normally that's all you need. If you're running a complete new empty hose, you might need a bit more work than that. Right, wheel back in again. Okay. covered in dust. I think it's been abandoned for some considerable time by the sounds of it. Just got to reconnect this dropper, and I think we're about done. Wasn't too bad, was it? Don't know if it works yet, but just level this lever back up. Almost forgot. Match this one a bit more. Right, let's just align the stem. Oh, perfect as it was. What's the chances? They're torqued. They're tight. Check this drop in there. Doing something. Drop. That works. Trim that cable. A strange design. This cable just comes out the front of the lever. Very odd. Anyway, works. So I lock the lever N2. So that's fully active there. Second position is, I think, attack, firms it up a bit. My last position pretty much locks it out there. So that is doing what it should do. Dropper is a drop-in. There we are done, I think. Piece of cake. You know what? It wasn't actually that bad, was it, really, to be honest? As Scott say, it was not really that much more difficult than working on any of their other bikes. This was dead straightforward. Pretty straightforward swap on that cap. And the shock itself. A couple of fiddly little bits, getting that cable attached and getting that boot back in. That was the hardest bit. So as I say, I couldn't find much information out there on these at all. So I do hope this video helps somebody when they come to do the same sort of job or something that involves working in that area. It's not too bad, guys, really, to be honest. As long as you've got a few bits of kit. And a nice work stand does help. Working on it upside down, it's always a bit fiddly on the floor. It tends to fall over. So a decent work stand will definitely help in that respect. So I hope you did enjoy that. Something different again. I like to keep variety on the channel, as you well know. And you never know what's going to come next week. Anyway, you're going to find out. Hit that subscribe button, get notifications, all that great stuff. And you'll see what comes next week. I'll see you again soon and enjoy the rest of your day. Almost forgot that. I'll have a look at that off camera. Probably got to pull the cranks to move this bit behind it. But hey, I'll get there, don't worry.